Hello, I'm John Tarr, and I am from Best Website Solutions. I'm a website designer and a graphic designer, and I like to blog about various aspects of web design and graphic arts. What you're seeing right here is a blog post I did recently that I am now doing a how-to YouTube video. So I'm actually going to be going off of the blog post on what I've designed or what I'm going to be talking about today, and then I'll leave a link that you can actually go by and then follow it step by step in the blog post. But sometimes it's hard to really get a read, and sometimes people need to visually see it, and sometimes they need to have it down where they can follow it in words. So I like to do blogs first before I make a how-to video because it just gets all my thoughts in place, and it actually allows me to bring in photographs and different things. So you're going to be seeing this in the blog posts where all these things actually go. So this is what it looks like, and this is where I'm going to start from. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start from the back end. I have built a website. My son is a wedding photographer, and I have built his website, and now I'm making landing pages. So our how-to video today is how to design website landing page in WordPress and why. I've already built his website, and I'm in the process of making different landing pages, and I had to make another one here for him. So I decided I would just build another one and teach you guys how to do it. One of the things that I do is I get the layout so I can figure out exactly where I'm at. The parent page is this one right here. The parent page is very plain, vanilla, focus keyword because it's going to be built off of that. So in this case, the parent page that the landing pages are going to point to is just wedding photojournalists. So I use Yoast, and I have the premium Yoast, but I actually use the free version of Yoast on a lot of websites that I design, but this particular one, and the premium version gives you some other things that you can use, and it allows you to use up to 5 focus keywords. But it's always the very first keyword that's going to be going into the URL. So that's where we start. One of the things people ask is, what is a website landing page? And as it says in the blog, page is designed off your website to be a standalone website page, independent of the parent website itself. It is not a page that will be connected to the main menu in the parent website. It will have all the same characteristics of the main website when it comes to color, fonts, images, so you will want to make it consistent to the parent website, so you do not confuse your potential clients or people. Okay, so people ask, what are some of the uses of landing pages? And some of the uses for a landing page, and I made a list of 6. One is to focus the CTA for advertising on other advertising platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and even Yelp. This CTA will help focus what you are promoting. Number 2 would be selling individual products or product lines. Again, this is a more narrow CTA, but it's very useful for that too. Another one would be a special offer. If you're offering something, something that you're promoting that has a start and end date would be a good one. Another landing page usage would be for collecting email addresses. That's a good one. A lot of people use that. And the one that I'm going to be doing today is actually reaching more locations such as states and cities. And you're going to see how we're going to add that on there to it. And then another one would be types of products that are offered. But there's a lot of other uses too. It's you know what, once you get the idea, the concept of landing pages, the whole world will really open up to you and how to promote yourself and your business. But there is one word of caution, and I'm going to lay that out to you right now. The word of caution is search engines such as Google, Bing, and Yahoo do not like duplicate content on their web page unless that page points back to the parent page. Okay, in this case, this is going to be, the parent page is going to be Wedding Photojournalists. So our landing page today is going to be Chandler, Wedding Photojournalist Chandler. You don't have to put it into that word, so actually the focus keyword is going to be Chandler Wedding Photojournalist. But before I go there, there's another way of pointing a page back to the parent page, and that is by using a thing called a website canonical. A website canonical means referring to, and it points back to the original thing. I use a plugin on WordPress called Yoast. It's probably one of the best ones out there, and it's the only one I've ever used. I actually been able to take classes from Yoast on how to be better with SEO and all of that. You can get the free version, and allows you to do one focus keyword, and many times that's all you need. In this case today, I have the premium version, which allows us to do a lot more things, and it's $89 a year to do, and it lets me to do up to 5 focus keywords, and it's pretty cool. But you can get away and get a lot of the same functionality from the free version. Another word of warning here. Remember, you can only use one focus key phrase. They're no longer called keywords on Google anymore, but they're called key phrases. You can only use one key phrase on a website, and that phrase should show in the URL of that page. Yoast itself will let you know if you have used that focus key phrase in another location on the whole website. So then you can't use it again. The reason that you should use only one focus key phrase on a website is that it confuses search engines, and they do not know where to point that page. So they end up not ranking that page at all. We want to make sure life is easy for these search engines. Okay. Not only is Yoast an amazing tool, but it will allow you to put a canonical in there, and that if you can't probably see it here, but in the blog post you'll be able to see where that canonical resides. So what I'm going to do, I'm bringing back to the parent page right here. And the canonical, if you go that route instead of a landing page, is found in the Yoast tool, and that's here, right up here. That says Yoast Premium. Yours, if you got just a free version, everything looks the same and works the same. So you actually would go down to the third button down here, and then where you see canonical URL right here is where it would go. The page that you're going to be bringing it back to. So if I wanted to, if I was going to use a canonical, I would get out of the URL for the page that's going to go to, and I would put it in there like this here. And I'm going to back it off because this is actually the URL for the blog post. So this is where you would put the canonical. One word of warning when you use canonicals is that they don't show up in the sitemap. So landing pages do if you're not using the canonical. So I use a sitemap, and I bring in as soon as I build either a page or a new blog post, I make a new sitemap and then enter it into Google Console. And that's to get the website searched by the search engine right away. So I'm actually going to take that out of there and not use a net canonical here at all. Okay, so I'm going to close that off, go back into, and you can see with Yoast, it gives you colors where you put your SEO title, your slug. Your slug is where it goes into the URL for the website. So in this case here, the permalink would be bts.photography /wedding photojournalist /. And then I put the title up here. You've got your slug, which is wedding photojournalist, just like you see here. And then your meta description. So all that's a big deal. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move us off of here, and I'm going to take us here, and I'm going to tell it we're going to make a new page. I have actually designed, I use a theme that allows me to build a whole website, a whole page, and a whole website, but a whole page, and I can save it into the library, the theme library, and it's the whole thing, so I don't have to rebuild the landing pages over and over again, which is a huge help. All I got to do is make some changes to the SEO, and away you go. So that's what I'm going to do here so you can follow me. So today, since I've got all this stuff worked out right here, I'm going to use Chandler Wedding Photojournalist right here. And I'm going to take it, and the title of this new page is going to be Chandler Wedding Photojournalist. And then I'm going to use a thing called a Divi Theme Builder, and that's the theme. And my focus keyword, and so I don't confuse people, I'm just going to put in one focus key phrase, and then after I'm done with this, I'm going to put the other ones in here. Now, here we go into the edit to snippet. Since I have this stuff already all worked out, that's one of the things that I work on right off the bat. So, and I'm going to take and copy and paste all this information that I've already worked out, because they match out the original, which is right here, Wedding Photojournalist, but I'm adding a city into it now, which is a big deal, because these landing pages will open in Google searches and Bing searches and Yahoo searches into the specific city or state that you put in there. So I want to blanket, if I'm promoting my son's business, I want to blanket every city in the state that this will open up to. But if you're a national photographer, you may want to put it on every state. I actually did make one for Arizona, Wedding Photojournalist, Arizona. Then it really said Arizona Wedding Photojournalist. So you could do that. You could do this for products. I have a friend that I'm building a website, artistic website, and she does watercolor, pull portraits and all kinds of things. So you could do watercolor. You could do Phoenix Artists / watercolor / Phoenix. So all these things will open up. A lot of companies use 200 or 300 or 400 landing pages to get their information out there. So that's what we're going to do right here. So in here, I'm going to take Chandler Wedding Photographer. Got this already worked out here. I'm going to copy and paste right here into the edit the snippet. This is where you go to put the title, and then I'll hit it right there. Also, Yoast will tell you when you've got too many words in the title, so I can cut these out. And I think there's like, you can't go more than 70 words in a title. So, oops, that is, it gave us a red look. Sometimes you can get away with one more thing in there. Now, in the slug, and this is where it's really, really important, two things that I'm going to show you right here. In the slug, you cannot have the whole thing in here. So I'm going to cut down and just make a Chandler all by itself. Okay, then over here to the right, you tell this page where the parent page is, and in this case it's Wedding Photojournalist. And I'm going to tell it to make it a blank page because I made a custom menu, so I'm doing that right here. So now it says Wedding Photojournalist is where it's pointing to. So all you do is put in the slug right there. And you won't see that up here in the permalink until you actually at least save it to the draft or go to publish it. So that's a couple things that will happen in here. So before I go too far, I want to go back to my meta description, which is right here. And here we go. And I want to put that right here in the meta description. You got to have a good meta description. Remember, this is where your advertising is. When it comes up on Google search and stuff like that, and people want to see it, it's going to show up, and this is where you're drawing people in. Now, it came up with kind of an orange here. So if I start to cut out some of this, so I'm going to just kind of cut it off right there and keep it in the green. One of the things that I like to do before I go very far is bring in a featured image. This is a plus for you here. Featured images. I designed these featured images custom. But you want to have a good featured image because this featured image will follow this website everywhere. So featured images are very important. Okay, so that's where now when I go to do this, it's going to be showing up in shortly here. Before I go any further, now this is where I go to do the layout. And in this case here, it's a Divi Builder, and I'm going to do load layout, and it's going to bring this up right here. And then I'm going to go to Divi has 111 layout packs if you wish to use something that they have laid out. But I like to do my thing custom, and I'll let you see why here in a few minutes. So I'm looking, you can see that I've made landing pages for different things, landing pages by cities and venues for wedding. Here's the one that the actual parent page is built off of, and I'm going to press that. We'll give it a second to load up, and here it is. It's all done. The whole page is done. Only thing that has to change now is the SEO, and we have already started that here in this area here. So at this point, I like to go ahead and save the draft so I don't lose that. I'm not going to publish yet because you don't want to do that until you get all the SEO done. So I'm going to hit Save Draft, and you're going to see the permalinks change. It takes a second to save the whole draft to bring the whole thing in here, and then you'll be able to see it. Now, can you see what's happened here? It's got HTTPS, and then it goes bts.photography/wedding photojournalist/Chandler. So that allows Google or Bing or Yahoo to know that it's a wedding photojournalist in the city of Chandler. And that's where it's going to show up. So the other thing that I'm going to do, remember, you don't want to publish this page yet. So I'm going to go in here because the whole page is laid out. I'm actually going to do a preview so you can see this. It takes a second to come up, so I'm going to let it. And here's here's the page right here. Right now it just says wedding photojournalist, and it's got this information here, and then welcome here. All these things are in H1 tags, H2 tags, H3 tags, H4 tags. And one word of warning, you can only have one H1 tag, the search engines, and they won't rank you. So you can see here, there's a gallery page that this thing leads to for weddings, for engagement photography, and gallery 3 here. I have also made some videos of his photography on YouTube, just like you're going to be seeing this on YouTube. And this is where you can go and play. And you can see this is a focus, the featured image. I brought 3 wedding photographs in. And then you can then play it, and it starts playing it like that. This actually has music with it too. So it's just... so that's how that works there. And then on the bottom of it here, it's got a testimonial. And then I actually have a bunch of images that will also link up to, you can use Instagram, which we did here, but you can also use Pinterest. And it gives you some outbound and inbound links. If I click that image there, you'll see it brought it into Instagram. And that's where you can be more descriptive, and you can use your hashtags and everything. So that's what we did there. This is something, this whole thing along the bottom I use over and over again. But also you see here it just says wedding photojournalist. We're going to have to go back in and add Chandler to that. And then there's a contact form here, his telephone number, and if I use more than one focus key phrase, this is where I add some more focus key phrases. Another important thing, and I'll even run across this real quickly, I make a footer, a customized footer along the bottom. So it adds inbound links throughout the whole website. And then over here in the far right, I have it giving the last 3 titles of the last blog post that went up. So that's great advertising. You can set that up in your into the website, so that will do that automatically every time. So that's what his website looks like. So we're going to go back in here now, and we're going to go back, and what you see right here, this section right here, is all right here. Then this is where the full width menu is. So the only thing I'm going to go in and change right now, and it says wedding photojournalist, and I put a H1 to tell me that it's an H1 tag. This is in white, so I'm going to have to go back, and I turn it to black so I can see what I'm doing. And this is where I add Chandler, wedding photojournalist. And I can tell it here, this is going to be the H1 tag. Remember, you can only have one H1 tag on that whole page. And you can only have this focus key phrase one time on the whole website. So those are 2 things you need to remember. Otherwise, you're going to have problems. I'm going to probably do a link where you can go. There's a couple of SEO checkers that will tell you when there are problems on a particular page. So it will then tell you that you need to fix that. And this is where you can learn a lot of cool stuff. So I'm going to save that, Chandler, wedding photojournalist. And I can also label it here. Down here, it gives me a chance to label it. So this one, Chandler, wedding photojournalist, and I always put the H1. So I can see it from the back end as I'm designing the website. Now it shows up Chandler, wedding photojournalist. Now, if I want to go back in here to welcome, and you can see welcome is right here. But I don't need to change that because it doesn't have anything else in here. But where I am going to go is in this bottom part where it says Premier Wedding Photojournalist. I'm going to put the city of Chandler in there. So I'm going to go back here, and I can find that right here. And this is where I will make this change right here. Add the word Chandler right there. And down here it's going to see, and it's got the H3 tag. So I actually, H3 tag is actually in this section here. And so that's where that hooks up. Okay, so there's an H3 tag with that name on it. As you go down in here, as I slide down, these are where the galleries are, and they reside in this spot right here. Divi is one of the most amazing themes on the market today. I can save and design. I design a lot of my websites on a local hard drive on a thing called MAMP, M-A-M-P. And I load up Divi on there. I a lot of times design whole pages by custom. And there's no time delay. If I'm trying to do something live on a website, there's a time delay, and it drives me crazy. So I actually build it on my local hard drive, and there's no time delay. Then I can save that whole page layout if I have Divi on the MAMP, and then it's also on the live site, and then I can bring it over when it's all done. So it goes very quickly. Okay. And then also this is where the video is residing, and that's right here. And then you can actually see the testimony and all these other lines are on here too. There's another place on here I've got to go and change. We've got to change where it says wedding photojournalist right there. And I'm going to go back right here. We're going to change that guy. We're going to make that Chandler. Because, and Yoast will tell you that you need to have that focus key phrase in at least 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 5 places in the content, depending on how many words that you've got. There's not a ton of words in here, but, and that's okay. So this is where you can go to see how you're doing on the focus key phrase. And it brings all this information in here for subheadings, and then it will also tell you, and one thing here though, it says key phrase is not in the slug. It is in the slug on the parent page, but you can't bring the whole focus key phrase in there because the slug, if I go back here and take a look at the slug, it's just Chandler, so it can't have the whole thing. But this will tell you what you've done well, and what you need help with. It says key phrase density, and that's what I was talking about earlier. There's it shows that there's 3 times that the key phrase has showed up. They're asking for a 4th time, probably, and you can see how it makes a change. So what I'm going to do is, going back to the website, if I go way down here, I've added a little section and made them very small, and that way I can, if I need to add the key phrase in one more spot, I'll take it and put it right in here. Okay, so I'm going to go down all the way down to the bottom, and it says wedding photojournalist right here. In this little guy, I'm going to make it, put Chandler, wedding photojournalist, And then I'm going to save that and put it right here so it shows up in the back end on that module. See, it showed up right here. So that's where she's at. Now, I'm going to go all the way back up here, and we're going to take a look and see if it showed up. It doesn't say it showed up. See, it just changed from 3 to 4. I guess there was so much in here that they really wanted it a 4th time. You don't have to have everything green in here for your page to show up green. You can see the focus key phrase, they gave it a green. The readability is important. I'll go back in. It says subheadings in the distribution. One section of your text is longer than 300 words, and it's not separated by subheadings. So what I would have to do is go back in and take a look and break up the subheadings a little bit better than I did. So that's what it tells you. Over on the far right, it will then, Yoast will give you for SEO, and in my opinion, SEO is far more important than a readability. Readability is still important. You want to do the best you can, and I usually try to get it in the orange range there. But your SEO needs to be green on every page. So I'm actually going to hit save. Let me show you the before. See, it just says wedding photojournalist. Now I'm going to hit save the draft, and it's going to, it takes a second. Sometimes this takes a lot longer to save drafts and then want to go to publish. And that's why I like to do it on the whole local hard drive on Map. So now if I go back here, refresh the page, it's going to show what the focus key phrase is here. And as you can see right now, it's taking a long time to load up. And this is what drives me crazy. And here it comes. See? Now it says Chandler Wedding Photojournalist. And then down here, all the way down the bottom, it says Chandler Wedding Photojournalist. And if you looked at the writing here, the SEO actually picked it up inside the content. Chandler Wedding Photojournalist. And then all the way down on the bottom, this little guy says Chandler Wedding Photojournalist. I'm going to go back in when we're done here and add Chandler to all these different spots, as well as doing the added key phrases that Yoast allows me to do in the Yoast Premium. Now, one of the things that you want to do is, and I'm going to come back to the blog post, and I'm actually going to show you what this looks like and what it looks like all the way. But one of the things that you're going to want to do is do not forget to send a sitemap to Google Console, Bing Webmaster Tools, and Yoast. Bing and Yoast work together actually. And so those search engines will index and crawl your website with the new changes right away instead of when they get around to it, which many times takes a couple of weeks. If you want to, I gave a link to so you could see this website as we were finishing it up here from the landing page. And so that's a pretty good idea on how to make a landing page using the / using the parent attributes. Remember, this is all located when you're designing a landing page. You have to look over here where the page attributes are, and you want to find out where the parent is. The original parent page, you can see over here in page attributes. See, it's just wedding photojournalist. Over here in page attributes, it says no parent. And that's where you would go. You do the drop-down menu right here to find out which one it would be. But I'm going to hit no parent here because it is the parent. And you can see it says bts.photography /wedding photojournalist / And then on the new page, the landing page, it says wedding photojournalist / Chandler. And that way you won't get dinged for duplicate content because it's pointing back to the original page that has the content in the first place. So if you don't have that in either your Canonical or a landing page where it's pointing back to the parent page, then they will ding you and many times not even rank your website. So I hope that helps. On the YouTube channel here, like the page, and then leave a comment and let me know if there's anything if I can help you with. I'll leave my email address, and you can then reach out to me and ask me a question or leave it there, and then I'll try to help you any way I can. When I build a website, I make a lot of landing pages for people. That's just part of the thing that I do. And what makes it easy, again, is having a theme that allows you to save the whole layout page. And then you just go back in and make the changes. So right now, before we leave here, I'm going to hit publish. And that takes a little while. It came up. Sometimes there's so much stuff in here, it doesn't want to do the update right off the bat, so sometimes you got to do it a couple times. Again, that's because there's a lot of stuff going on, and it finally took it that time. And the way that you know that it took it was right here. So there it is. You can go back and take a look at the original page again. And I hope this has been helpful for you. So there you have it. And till my next YouTube video on how-to on different things for graphic design and website design. This is John Tarr for I was going to say my son's website, but this is John from Best Website Solutions.